I feel like I don't, anytime I was like, I have 10 minutes to just like sit and paint them and then another 20 for them to dry, even though it doesn't take 20 for them to dry, I'm very hyper aware. So what I ended up doing is I ended up painting them last night, and then I ended up painting this hand last night, and then this hand this morning, so holding the microphone is the way that they're going to dry. So it it forces me to do them, and it forces me to film a video, which is good. You're catching me with morning hair. I've tried to fix it as good as I can, but it's always, my morning hair is like, it's wild. There's a bird right outside my window right now. That's really cool. It's just like a little tiny bird, and it's like, it's one of those birds that goes like ee, like, I don't want to whistle it because like that's not sonically pleasant, but like one of those birds. So anyway, today is part one. Oh my god, the check-in. The check-in. My check-in is actually, I've had this written down for a while, and I was like, what video do I put it in? So, I'm going to put it in the first part of the Q&A video, because, like I said, this is part one. So, the check-in is, are you excited for warmer weather? Because I am, and I was like, when do I put this in a video? Because I should put it in a video in like April, because that's when we get our warmer weather. And then it like fully sticks around in May, kind of. But I was just like, fuck it, I want to use it because I want to go outside. I really want to go outside and start gardening. Nothing makes me more excited than like March and like the first part of April, where I'm like, it's coming, it's almost here. So yes, I'm very excited for warmer weather, because think of this, think of going outside with a book in the morning, with a cup of whatever you want to drink, and just letting everything sit. I need it so badly. But anyway, today, like I've said, is part one of the Q&A video. I got so many questions, and I am a rambler, so I am splitting this into two parts. One like this weekend, I guess, and then one next weekend. And then same thing with the Trigger Word Tuesday. I don't think I mentioned this in the most recent Trigger Word Tuesday, but I got enough words that I can do two videos. That way, I'm not bombarding you all with community posts. So, I guess that's all I have to say, really, before we get started with the questions. It's just, like, aren't they so pretty? I love them. I love them so much. They kind of, like, they almost match my hair, especially when I put, like, the purple shampoo in. If I leave the purple shampoo in, for a while, my hair ends up turning this kind of color before, like, that, it washes out and goes back to the silver. But anyway, the questions. Question time. First question is from Libra777, the ever lovely Libra777, who gasses me up in my comments, like, all the time. Thank you. But question one, favorite snacks or drinks? For myself, it is anything salty. I like, like, sometimes I will eat, like, dry Ritz crackers with nothing else. Oh, I also like to have, like, a tiny bowl of cereal every now and again. But that's, like, it's a fairly boring answer, but, like, crackers, there's also, like, those, like, Britain round cheese crackers that I really like. And then as for drinks, water. I like drinking water. And I used to hate drinking water, but now I'm like, I convince myself that it is good for me to consume water. So that is how I overcome the fact that, like, water is kind of boring, but generally if I have, like, a cup or anything like that, sell syrups for like coffee and stuff like that. So I'll get like a lavender syrup and I'll put that in cold brew that I make for myself. And then I put soy milk in the cold brew. I put a little bit of coffee cream, and then I'll do like a pump of the lavender syrup and just like a squeeze of agave syrup. And that's very, very good. That's kind of like a recreation of the honeycomb lavender latte that Starbucks used to have. Not the new lavender stuff. The new lavender stuff is inferior to the honeycomb lavender stuff, but that's me getting angry at the company that I used to work for. But it's also not as good, like truly. But then also when I go to this Italian grocer, they also have like a peach syrup. So sometimes what I'll do is like I'll get, oh my goodness, I'll make myself like a peach iced tea. I'll have like an iced tea powder or something like that. Or I'll make like, I have a cold brew tea brewer, so it depends on how I'm feeling. But I'll do that, and then I'll do like a pump of the peach in there, and that's really, really good as well. So that's generally what else I have. But yeah, also I guess favorite drinks. This is kind of not like something that I drink recreationally, but I have, and this is not because I subscribe to any like diet culture or anything like that, but the chocolate flavored Slim Fast powder is fantastic. It tastes amazing, and I love it so much. And it kind of helps because when I'm at work, generally I have something going on in the morning and in the afternoon, and sometimes they're in different places. So I will make one of those the night beforehand, and I'll drink that on the way, as well as have like a mini croissant or two, just because it's very convenient. And it also kind of makes up for the fact that, like, if I didn't have enough protein for breakfast, or if my lunch is just a mini croissant, then I can supplement with that. So like, as long as it factors in, I think if you want to drink health drinks and stuff like that, don't make it your entire meals for the day. I would say incorporate it in moderation, because that's what it's meant for. It's meant to be like meal replacement slash supplement. So so that's kind of what I do, and I don't necessarily snack throughout the day. I'm not much of a snacker. I'll usually eat like what I'm eating for the meal at a smaller portion, and then I'll have like crackers or something like that around then, or like a mini croissant, like I said. Oh, sometimes I like to take like a tortilla and just like put peanut butter on that, and then a small drop of honey, roll that up and eat that, or a tortilla with like ham or something like that, and then like with a little bit of cream cheese. That is weirdly good as well. But anyway, second question, the most memorable place that I've visited. This is not anything like show-stopping, but it would be the lake country along the Okanagan Lake over in British Columbia. That is gorgeous land. I also really, really enjoy, like, this is gonna sound really cheesy, but right here in my neighborhood, there is, okay, so I live in a suburb, and in this neighborhood, this suburb was planned by a bunch of like local urban planners, and they wanted there to be a lot of green space in our neighborhood. So despite the fact that it is like not, we are by no means the rich neighborhood in the suburb, but despite the fact that we are sort of like that neighborhood in our larger community, we have a reputation, but we have a ton of green space, and you can see people walking every month of the year in -40 weather, in +30 weather. It's really nice, but there's like a forested area. It's called an urban forest. I don't know, like it was just basically a bunch of trees that they didn't cut down, and there is like a little bench that is right by a creek in this neighborhood, and I have spent hours upon hours there. I'll bring a book there, I'll bike over there. It's fantastic. So most memorable place that I visited is for sure the Okanagan Lake. And I went paddleboarding on the Okanagan Lake too, which is just so much fun. And then, of course, this one area in my neighborhood that I love. My backyard is a close third, though. I love my backyard, especially at like in the mornings when the time changes, which I think the time change is happening tonight. Now that I think about it, but I love the when it's brighter earlier in the morning, because here it gets, the sun rises, I think at the very earliest the sun rises around 4 and it's bright around 5, so I like just sitting out in my backyard and watching the sunrise and reading a book or something like that with my plants all around me. So cheesy answer, but it's my answer. So the next one, if I could have dinner with any historical figure, this is probably the most difficult question on this list, I think, because it's such a, like, I am, oh dear, my nails, oh, okay, good, they're dry enough that they're not rubbing off, right, okay, good. This is such a difficult question because I absolutely love history, and I like to learn about all different time periods in history and stuff like that. So it's very difficult to know, but I think very, very close to the, I think battling for the top spot would be like, I would say like Marsha P. Johnson, who is one of the founders of the Stonewall movement, Stormé, who was a very prominent lesbian, who also was very, very sort of integral in the Stonewall gay rights movement. I think those two are quite high up. I would like to chat with Theodore Roosevelt, not because I find him interesting, I just find it interesting that, like, the course of American history could have gone so different if he and his Bull Moose party won that election. So that's it. That is very interesting to me. I would also like to know, like Zheng Yizhao or Zheng Yatso, who was the like Chinese pirate queen woman. I would just like to get to know her because she was like working as a dancer in a brothel, and then she married a really famous pirate, and then he died, maybe by accident, maybe she killed him, and then married his adoptive son so that she could take over the pirate fleet, and they ran like basically a socialist pirate empire. It's very interesting, but that's, I think, like a good amount of people that I would like to meet, and just like have a chat with. I think if there's anybody else, I'll let you know in the next video, but I think those are like a good amount of people that I would choose. And then the next questions for this video are, the next question for this video is from Eliana Rodriguez, and it is just one question, and it is, would I ever pursue ASMR full-time? Yes and no. I think the idea of pursuing ASMR full-time, if that opportunity is presented to me, is something that I would do 100%. Would I probably keep working? Yes, I do think that I would keep working in some respect. To be very honest, if ASMR keeps going for me, I might even reapply at Starbucks, just because the Starbucks experience, without all the stress of like the money and the hours and the terrible treatment of workers, and like the constant short staffing and stuff like that, if I had a source of income beyond that, it would be far less stressful to work there. Retail, for me, is very this because I never want this to become my job. I always want this to be something fun, and if it turns into a full-time thing, amazing. I love that. But I want it to stay fun as a full-time thing as well. That's kind of how I view all of my work. The work that I do right now, I would like to continue in some respect as well. Maybe I might even dust off like my swimming instructor certifications and my lifeguarding certifications and get back into that because that was so much fun as well. But basically, as long as I'm having fun doing what I do, I'm happy. And generally, I'll need to be doing like a couple things, like maybe swimming instructing and ASMR, maybe Starbucks and ASMR, something like that. The next three are from Sophia, the wonderful Sophia. The first one is, what is my name? I think I've given out my middle name on this channel before. I don't know if I've ever given out my first name. If I have, it is way back, or I've said it by accident. And I think I promised a couple of people that I would say what my name is at 1,000 subscribers. My name is Ryan. So that is my name. Hello, my name is Ryan. And yeah, it's funny that I've never brought it up, but then it kind of became like a fun little game. But anyway, the second, my favorite breakfast. Okay, this is favorite breakfast of all time is probably when I used to, okay, this is a good question. Okay, favorite breakfast. There's a couple of different answers. Like I said, I ramble a lot. Get used to it. Favorite breakfast. This is so basic. It's terrible, but I absolutely love the everything croissant breakfast sandwich from Tim Hortons, not the one from Starbucks. The one from Starbucks makes my stomach sore. A lot of the things from Starbucks make my stomach sore, which I don't know. If you have to get Starbucks food, go for it. If you don't have to, avoid it like the plague, because it will give you stomach issues. It will make you feel greasy. It's not good. Plus, the shrinkflation is so real. You are paying an arm and a leg for like half of a breakfast sandwich, and if you go to a Tim Hortons, you get a hash brown, you get a sandwich, and you get a drink for the same price as a single sandwich at Starbucks. And like, that's talking about like a bacon Gouda sandwich, which is like a tiny fucking, that Starbucks is robbing you blind from our angle of things. Like, one bacon Gouda sandwich, I think, paid for like 4 cases of it, and that's 4 cases of like 24 of them or something like that. It's wild. But I love like a Tim Hortons breakfast, very quick on the fly, is so good. I also really like making my own breakfast sandwich. I have like a little egg cup that you can just put, like, you crack the egg, you mix it with whatever you want, and then you pour it into this little egg cup, and it cooks it in the microwave so that I don't have to get out like a pan and stuff like that. But I love that little egg cup because I can make like a quick scrambled egg, and I can put it on like a bun with cheese. What I've been having before work every morning is I've been doing that egg, and then I buy pretzel buns from Walmart. I'll put like cheese, and then there's like a large slab of like it's like corned, like it's from Costco. It's like a slab of meat, and I do like I think I've discussed this on the channel before. I don't consume meat when I don't have to, but if it's convenient and cheap, all bets are off the table. If I had to, I could be forced off meat, and I could only eat fish and shrimp and stuff like that for the rest of my life. I would be happy as a pescatarian, but when it's cheap, like a chunk of ham from Costco is very convenient to just cut up and eat over the course of multiple weeks, and keeping it in the freezer, of course. But I get this thing that is like a slab of corned, I think it's back bacon or Canadian bacon or whatever, so I'll slice that up, and then I fry it. of sausage or something, as well as like a little bit of salsa is pretty good, and cheese as well. That's always good. I'll also have cereal quite often. There's a restaurant near us that makes like a breakfast pizza that's got like hollandaise sauce as the base, mozzarella cheese, scrambled eggs, potatoes, mushrooms, and tomatoes on it. That is fantastic as well. And then my favorite movie as a kid, The Incredibles. I love that movie, and I still do. But I watched that so often because I loved Dash as a kid. I really did. I wanted to be Dash. So that is my favorite movie as a kid. I would say also like Star Wars, all of the Star Wars movie. I was, and I remain to this day a massive Star Wars nerd. I could tell you so much more than you would ever need to know about Star Wars. So that is like The Incredibles, Star Wars. I did watch Pokemon movies as a kid, but not as religiously as Star Wars movies. The next two questions are from Fluffy Monkey M. Fluffy Monkey M. The first one is the video that I am the proudest of now. This is a couple videos. The video that I am currently probably highest on my list, proudest of, is the like the one where I ask about the nail color and the 1,000 subscribers, because that was like, oh my god, what's going on? I think another video that I'm proudest of is the glow stick videos. Those two videos, I really love the glow stick trigger, and I'm gonna do more of it. Mostly because it's so fun to make. And then the video that I am like proudest of in terms of like the production of it all is the video where like I have the laptop propped up here. I have this end table with my Alocasias on it, and I'm sitting on the floor. I am so proud that that video came out as good as it did. It needs a little bit of polish because that microphone is rough, but I love that video, and just like the way that I came up with the method to do that. A couple of their videos I'm proudest of. The first video that I did in this setup, because I'm so happy that I just kind of stumbled into this setup. And then, I think my return to ASMR after, like, I made 3 videos in the very beginning in, like, 2021, and then I came back to it in November of last year, 2023. Very proud of the video that I came back with, because it kind of started something that I really, really enjoy. And then the second question is my favorite ASMR video of all time, and this is the glass tapping video from Matt's ASMR, where she's tapping on pear extracts. Fantastic. I have fallen asleep to that so many countless times. A close second is the Trinity J trigger word video that I always talk about, that one day I should just do a tribute to, because that is a fantastic video. It's so good. And then basically any video put out by Delina Tingles I really, really like. Any video put out by Mads ASMR I really, really like. Same thing with Trinity J. Although Trinity J is one of my favorite, like, put her on in the background YouTubers, ASM artists, and I would say that that trigger word video of hers I've fallen asleep to a lot, but the rest of the people that I mentioned I fall asleep to quite a bit. But I just like watching Trinity J. Trinity J is such like a calming, wonderful presence. She's fantastic. The next couple of questions are from Mel R. Thank you for like all of your kind words all the time. Same thing, like to all of you. Basically, everybody who commented something is just like, you're all fantastic and amazing. Like, you all comment on the majority of my videos, and it just like warms my heart. So thank you. But Mel, our first question. Unique traditions that my family has. I would say the most unique is, well, okay, my mom and I, we celebrate a holiday on January 22nd. I call it House Anniversary because that's the day that we moved into this house back in 2018. So I celebrate that because it was a big kind of, maybe I'll tell the story one day if I get personal enough, but it was just it was a big day of triumph for the both of us. We had overcome something very, very, very awful, and I'm just proud of us. I'm proud to survive what we did and make it here and living and having fun and smiling, which is something that somebody wouldn't want us to be doing. So I love that video, or I love that holiday. And then another tradition is on New Year's. There was, okay, so back in 2016, my grandma moved back here to Alberta. I think I've said that I live in Alberta, Canada, but my grandma moved back here from British Columbia because my grandpa had come down with Alzheimer's, and it was a very long time coming. She probably should have moved here a couple years earlier, because the treatment here, the treatment that he was getting back in BC was far higher quality because their healthcare system is great. They have higher taxes, but their healthcare system is fantastic. And moving here, the Alberta healthcare system is in complete state of disarray because our conservative government is, I'd say, batshit crazy. It's awful. It's so dumb out here. We'll be like, we need to fix the healthcare system, and then our premier dismantles the Alberta Health Services. Oh, we need to improve our healthcare system, our hospital system. But then she's like, as my first act, big act with the healthcare system, we're gonna dismantle the entire Alberta Health Services system. We're gonna dissolve the board. We're gonna get rid of it. So you can't fix the healthcare. You can't say we need to fix the healthcare system, blame it on the other party, and then dismantle the body that organizes our healthcare system. It's so stupid. It's so stupid. Our premier is one of the dumbest people alive, I swear to God. But anyway, when my grandma moved back here, that's my political rant for the day. When my grandma moved back here from BC, this was in 2016, the summer of 2016, and we decided to spend New Year's at her new apartment, and there's a whole story behind this night as well, but we decided to spend the night at her apartment, waiting for 12 o'clock, because we are a family that if you're not staying up until midnight on New Year's, what are you even doing? But we decided to spend the night at her house, and what we did is I took all of us out in the car, the three of us, my grandma, my mom, and myself, to go drive past the home that my grandpa was in. Not that we could have visited at that point in time, but we did. But then I started honking at people who were walking around, and we started screaming Happy New Year's out the car window. And then my grandma was like, I'm kind of hungry. So then we went to the McDonald's by our house, and I gave them a $50 tip for working, and we still know those McDonald's people today. I'm friends with every drive-through person around, just because, I don't know, working at Starbucks then kind of solidified the fact that I was like, I need to make friends with all my drive-through people because they go through a lot in a day. But we went to the McDonald's that had just opened up by our house, and I ordered a milkshake, and I got her a fillet of fish or something like that, and they had to make a fresh fillet of fish. And she was like, that's the best sandwich that I've ever had. So to this day, on New Year's Eve, after midnight, so on New Year's Day, I guess, we pile in the car, and I start honking at just cars and drive around our neighborhood, and we scream out the windows Happy New Year to people, and they're all pretty happy about it. And then also go to McDonald's to get my grandma a fillet of fish every year and myself a chocolate milkshake. So that is, I say, my favorite tradition that we have. Just all, no matter what, that's my favorite tradition that we have as a family. So second, cool historical facts from where I live. literally not much, unfortunately. But what I find interesting is that the nearest city used to be the big city that I live pretty close to. It used to be a like traditional sort of like crossroads spot for a lot of the people who lived here before colonization, for Indigenous and First Nations people, Cree people, Saulteaux people, like a lot of different cultures. And the way that this city is from my perspective, you have to go down a river valley and then up, and the city is on quite a high plateau kind of thing. And that has always been so cool to me, thinking about the fact that this plateau used to be like a traditional meeting ground for Cree people, and like it was kind of like a hub for a lot of different nomadic peoples and people who would come over here to like trade and stuff like that. And it's so wonderful to think about like the footsteps that have walked probably the land that I'm sitting on right now. And I also think that it's important to remember these things, especially as people who live in North America, and South America and Australia, is that there have been indigenous populations that have been on this land, being stewards of this land for hundreds of years before anybody with my skin tone arrived here. And I think by remembering that kind of thing, and by internalizing that kind of thing, I think we can move forward in the discussion of what does giving this land back actually look like. Because I think it is absolutely about time, especially since in Canada kind of had a national reckoning in the past couple of years, where we discovered unmarked grave sites of hundreds and thousands of Indigenous children who were taken away from their families to be educated in what are called residential schools. And this was, without mincing words, a deliberate, carried out genocide of these people. It was meant to erase their culture and erase them. And it is absolutely disgusting history. So I think if we try our absolute best to remember that these places were not just like, it's not all just like wilderness that was inhabited sparsely by a couple of nomadic peoples. Absolutely not. This was land that was cultivated, that was used, that was looked after by these people for so many hundreds of years before we got here and started like drilling into it and like destroying it, essentially. And then trying to destroy the people that were doing that. It's sickening. And I think if we try to remember this kind of stuff, then hopefully our nation can move closer to the point where we are fully committed to reparations and giving land back to these people, which I think a lot of people think, nope, that's, you're gonna kick me out of my house. Well, what is the spirit of that? Fuck off. That's not what's going to happen. The idea of land back is giving this land back to the people who took care of it first, because we've been doing such a shit job at it. Our government, our settler colonial government, has been doing such a shit job at it. And it is an opportunity to sort of reset society, Canadian society, in a way that looks more optimistic and better for communities that have been underserved for centuries, and the people who were here first, and for the people who came to live here and who colonized and carried out a lot of violence. The idea of land back means giving the land back to the earth in a way, and just listening to the people who know this land in their bones and in their blood. That is, I think, the most interesting historical fact from dance. Anything off of the Renaissance album from Beyonce, honestly, can get me moving. I don't mean to be, like, basic, but I do think that Texas Hold'em by Beyonce is a fantastic song. Yes, I know it sounds like the Franklin theme song, but I just love that song so goddamn much. The next three ones are from Molly Mouse, Molly Mouse, Molly Mouse. My timestamp, the deity of timestamps, you are wonderful. And the first question is, what is a choral piece that I love? I love All Too Soon, which I believe is by Chris Hadfield. Hadfield. I'm gonna look it up really quickly. Actually, both of the two songs that I was gonna bring up are by Stephen Hadfield. Stephen, Hatfield. The first one is All Too Soon. That one is so good. It's so pretty, and it's like dark, and I don't know, it's haunting in a way, and the story that it tells is quite compelling. I really like that song. And then Bonnie Wood Green, Heartbreaking. I love performing Bonnie Wood Green. Bonnie Wood Green is probably my favorite choral arrangement of all time. It's so fantastic. I love Baba Yetu. Baba Yetu is really good. Which is, it's the Lord's Prayer in Swahili, but it was made for the video game Civilization 4, by the composer that did that game, and it is such a good song. It's fantastic. The second, oh, sorry, my camera is very shaky right now. I'm not sure why. There we go. Okay. If I could have any house, okay, stop. There we go. If I could have any house, in the world, what would it look like? What would it be? I would probably have my house I would probably put it like somewhere near Toronto, just because it's slightly warmer than here in Alberta, but I would want my family to live close by. I would also maybe put it nearby Seattle or something like that, because I love the Pacific Northwest. The other place that I would want a house would be somewhere where it is warm enough to begin gardening in like March or early April. I would like that, but I would still want to get winter, because I don't mind winter. I don't love it, but I don't mind having all four seasons. And then what it would look, probably about the size of house that I have now, which is around, like, I think, around 1,200 square feet. No, that seems big. Probably a little, it's over 1,000 square feet, but maybe 1,200. I think maybe 1,200 is right, but anyway, about the same size, but I would want huge yard, because I would want trees, I would want garden, I would want, I would like a patch of grass. I know that lawns are absolutely terrible, but I would like a patch of grass or two, because I do genuinely enjoy taking care of grass, even though it's boring. But I would do probably like a wildflower garden, maybe like a small vegetable herb garden, and then like flowers, wildflowers and stuff like that. Actually, yeah, not a small wildflower garden, probably most of the area would be, and like hedges and trees and stuff like that as well. Then I would also, if we're going big, we might as well go big. I would like somewhere to swim. I don't care if it's indoor or if it's outdoor. I want somewhere to swim. And then I would like quite a bit of space indoors, with a lot of windows to let light in so that I could have more plants, of course. And then a lot of space for storage and things like that, because I would like bookshelves and stuff like that, so a lot of like built-in interesting shelving. And I would say like a kitchen that is not too large but has decent counter space, just because we don't have a lot of counter space. We do, but we could do with like an extra little bit, my city, so those are nice to get to. I don't know, like I would say, um, it's, we are a very standard city in a way. I would say we do have a huge botanical garden that's really, really nice to go to, and they do like rotating exhibits as well as just like the other pieces of the botanical garden all around. But yeah, they have like a rotating exhibit every now and again. And then, well, I guess we have two areas in the city that are kind of like nightlife districts, and both of those are very nice to walk at night, although most cities have those, I find. And then also like the surrounding nature of the city is very, very nice. We have a large river valley in the city, which is very nice to walk through and all that. Although the government, of course, doesn't take care of it, so it is generally strewn with trash because they let companies just do whatever the fuck they want, which is frustrating. But we have, the city has a new mayor right now, and he's like the most progressive mayor our city has ever seen, so hopefully we're on the upswing in that way. Then, the next couple of questions comes from Soph J. Jackson, S-O-P-H-J Jackson. Do I have any pets? I do not. I'm probably going to be getting a betta fish here soon, just the only reason why I haven't gotten a dog is because dogs are expensive right now, so hopefully sometime in the future we can find a rescue, and it needs to be a small dog because we want her to be able, it would be nice to have a large dog, but in the size of home that we have and the size of yard that we have just doesn't make sense for a large dog, and I don't want to be a bad owner for a very beautiful large dog. So I think a small dog would work perfectly for us, so fingers crossed. What province do I live in? I live in Alberta, and I'd say Alberta is a 5 out of 10. Okay, because of the political situation, Alberta is a 0 out of 10. Because of the state of our healthcare system, Alberta is like a 3 out of 10 and trending downwards because of the current government. The education system is like a 6 and trending way downward. Alberta has the least funding per student, the least amount of funding dollars per student of any other province in Canada, and we are the economic powerhouse province other than Ontario and Quebec because of the oil. It's just so stupid. Yet our government is deciding that, we're going to put a bunch of money in the Heritage Fund so that later down the line we have a lot of money to pull from. And it's like, bitch, we don't have basic services. You are shortchanging our children in healthcare and in the education system. Oh my god. Anyway, but for the scenery, I'd say we are like, we're a 7 out of 10, mostly because you could just go to BC, and BC is way more beautiful. And then for the people and just like how I enjoy living here day to day, 7. The people, if you're in the city, probably like an 8. And then if you're out in the country, probably like an 8 as well. But there are racist, homophobic people in this province, and those are the people who support this current stupid government. And then 3, sort of a bucket listed item, like one place to visit on my bucket list. I'm not quite sure where I would go specifically, but I would say like Iceland is on the bucket list, Japan is on the bucket list, to be trigger words. I know it's kind of basic and like just general whispering. I like a clicky whisper. I like a crisp whisper. I do not like talking. I like soft spoken ASMR. I can't really do. I also absolutely hate tongue clicking. I can't stand it. And it's just like not. It just doesn't do it for me. My favorite trigger word, I'd say, is it's it is probably, this is from Trigger Word Tuesdays, but it is probably terracotta, 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 terracotta. I love terracotta. I also like space words just because they make me picture space. And then my star sign, I'm a Sagittarius. I am a Sagittarius. I am a Sagittarius. Now, the last question is from Kirabira, who I just answered what my favorite trigger word is, but what my favorite trigger, I should say, is. But Kirabira also asked what are my top 3 plant species, and I would say that currently my top plant species is alocasias. So there is my golden bone alocasia. This is, well, you can hear the sirens outside. There is my kite shield alocasia. There is my alocasia frydeck. This one right here is my alocasia nebula Elaine. I have my alocasia Jacqueline over there, and my alocasia cuprea in my other room. And I just like them because I like a large-leafed tropical. I would also say that on that list is the Hawaiian palm, because it's just so damn cute. Sorry for those sirens, I hope that you can't hear them. And then I would say probably the next favorite, I love succulents. I really love succulents. I also like kind of those, it's